There's no individual God playing puppet master up in the heavens with some book of life, but there is a force, an infinite force that gives sustenance, form, and the impulse to progress and change form that is behind everything. It's not God, although some people could call it God. It's a force that is itself. We are that force. Everything in the universe is that force. It's just a different form of that force, aware of a different part of that force. We have each go on our own tangent of reality into that infinite, experiencing different things, adding them to ourselves, reflecting them up into a higher dimension, harmonically speaking, where it links up with other different formations, which reflect back down into our consciousness as a particular objective form of awareness of a certain layer of reality. Everybody's at different phases or different layers of that reality, but we're all part of the same reality. We all, as humans, are part of a same frequency relationship. We've all reached a common plane as these particular creatures. We're aware of being compatible with this dimension because of the fact that we exist here in the first place. Those harmonic frequency relationship principles are inviolate, and they exist throughout all of the universe in different forms based on the past experiences they've undergone and accumulated certain linkages with other abstract energy formations which exist in a higher dimension that oscillates from its positive to its negative polarity down into this dimension and combines with other similar frequencies and coalesce into a specific form that we see as ourselves, or as a bacterium, or as a virus, or as another animal, plant, as a planet, moon, galaxy, as a cosmic ray particle, as a comet, whatever you want to see it as. There is an infinite solid amidst us that transmits itself harmonically, infinitely, from point A to point B, from me to this camera, from you to me, from any given point to another. There's an infinite transference of different harmonic frequency relationships that dictate to each other that they are interplaying in a specific dimension or a specific spectrum of energy transmission. And so here we find ourselves at a jumping off point in our own evolution, our own progression as human beings, where we're capable of understanding these things, and there's a lot of disparity between religious and scientific factions as to the nature of this reality and the nature of the force that sustains all of this universe. I know a lot of people who are atheistic might challenge some of these notions. However, if you stop and digest the different implications of the harmonic principles, the regenerative forces that sustain our own physical bodies, our thought processes, the galactic forms, and the universe itself, there must be an intelligent, not in a sense that it's an individual having a brain like we have, but an intelligent force, impersonal, equally disposed towards all things, because otherwise all things wouldn't exist. If it was partial towards good, what we consider to be good, which is merely in itself a mental construct of comparison and evaluation, then those things wouldn't exist in our consciousness. But those things exist in our consciousness because we've labeled them. We've used symbology to label, oh, this was good for us, this was bad for us, in some bygone period of time. So therefore there's that positive and negative polarity situation, similar to an oscillatory frequency vibration, positive and negative electricity and magnetism, whatever you wish to call it. That principle is the same. Those principles govern everything: oscillation, frequency relationship, harmonics, positive and negative, and those in themselves are merely a convenient, accurate as we can get to describing the nature of this infinite force which exists about us and gives us our own intelligence, our own embodiment as a physical being in this dimension, but also gives us a positive polarity which exists in an abstract way somewhere else in a higher dimension, which also religionists would call the soul. It's the sum and total of all of our past experiences, and it reflects its intelligence and its motivating life force into our physical body and into our consciousness and awareness of everything. It is another form of energy existing in that harmonic multiple situation in a higher dimension, which isn't subject to space or time as we know it, but exists perpetually as an abstract formation, an aggregate collection of energy vibrations based on our past experiences, which every experience we go through generates a certain harmonic in our consciousness and in the universe, and it links itself up in a chain-like fashion to other harmonics of a similar nature, and therefore it contacts that higher self or soul. I usually have learned to refer to it as the superconsciousness instead of the subconscious. It is the Father within, as Jesus might have called it in Christian terminology. The infinite force that gives us our embodiment and also gives us the desire to learn more of that infinite in and of itself. And our awareness is that infinite in a certain form, but we are in a certain perspective that we aren't aware instantaneously of everything in the universe, and we never will be, because that force is, in fact, infinite.